Hello. I love everything that we've covered today. I'm absorbing it. I would love to just touch a little bit upon relationships. I'm finding myself seeing results in real time to do with birds and feathers often, but I find myself hesitant when I'm faced with people.
Well, what we've been talking about here today is primarily about your relationship with your inner being and with your vibrational reality, because that's the first step. Once you understand that relationship and you've got a handle on it, then all other relationships will be comfortable and pleasurable. But most humans who don't have a handle on this, in other words, we're just right here on the leading edge, and even you discovered new things about it even today. So it's an evolving state of being for sure. But most humans are not tending to the relationship with who they really are. So they are not consistently under the influence of source, and so they are under the influence of something else. And so most humans have the habit, the belief, the expectation, the practiced vibration of watching the behavior of others in order to acknowledge how they're doing. So it's attention from others that they crave, rather than allowing themselves to be under the influence of who they really are. And then the behavior of others is a big part of what's going on in their vibration. You just can't watch something without forming an opinion about it. And if the opinion that you form when you're watching other humans, or when you're striving for the attention of other humans, when that supersedes your awareness of your connection with source, then you're sort of out of control. Sometimes you get both, but you got to give up your craving for attention of others. It has to become irrelevant to you what they think about you, because they're not prepared to see you. They're under the influence of what their mother thought, or they're under the influence of their whatever. And so you just can't count on anybody else. This was the clearest thing that Esther ever came to understand about this. Once her Jerry made his transition into non-physical, they had a long-standing relationship. They were together for over 30 years. And during that time, they were together all the time, all day, all night, every day, every night. In other words, they were really getting along well. Esther would not admit to any moments that weren't wonderful. There might have been some, but she can't remember them. As far as she was concerned, it was lovely, 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 lovely. And then when he made his transition, she was really distressed, because she connects with us so easily, but she couldn't find him. She suffered over it for a while, and one day when she stumbled accidentally into a clear space where she could hear us, you can only stand so much grieving. Pretty soon your mind just sort of times out. She heard us say, look for him where he is, not where he was. And it startled Esther, because she didn't realize that there would be a vibrational difference between him where he was and him where he is, because she knows he's in a perfect place now, and she would not admit that he wasn't always in a perfect place. So she was not willing to even acknowledge that there could be a vibrational variance between Jerry in the physical and Jerry in the non-physical. Well, this is what we're asking you all to acknowledge about everybody you know. There's your friend in the physical, and there's your friend in the non-physical. And the thing that confused Esther is that Jerry was so often tuned in, tapped in, turned on to his inner being, that he was often all of that. In other words, Jerry in the physical was very often like Jerry in the non-physical, just not always. But Esther was not looking for him there. She was missing where he was. She was looking at the lack of him. He wasn't across the dinner table, and he wasn't in the bed, and he wasn't walking down the hall, and he wasn't taking the walk, and he wasn't driving the bus, and he wasn't helping with anything. And so it took her a little while to adjust to the inner being aspect as compared to the physical aspect. So that's what you got to do with everybody in relationships. You've got to look for who they really are, not who they're being. And what most everybody's doing is needing who they're being to be something different, so that I can feel better, because my inner being sees who you really are, but you're not acting like that right now. And while my inner being has the ability to see your potential, I don't, because I'm tuned to who you're being, because I've been basing how I feel on your behavior, on your actions, on your attention to me, which is not a good idea, because other people are not wired to please you. They fake it at first. Everybody fakes it at first. They try to appear compatible. They pretend that you are the most important thing in the world to them, but you can never be. Their connection to their inner being must be the most important thing in the world to them and to you. So to say it otherwise, or to believe it otherwise, puts you at a disadvantage, because now you're sort of like a bobbing cork on a raging sea, and you don't have much control, where once you connect with who you really are, then it's easier. Now that's the basis. That's the story, Morning Glory. So now, what do you want to talk about? That was Jerry's words. Jerry said to Esther, what's the story, Morning Glory? And what he meant was, tell me the good news and only the good news. I only want the good news, only the good news. Something more?
I've always been, I don't want to bump or do a rough ride, but I'm finding myself, maybe there's a bit more hesitance to do with money, like an allowance of it flowing, like that it's okay that it goes.
It's true for everyone. Just pick up more of the other sticks. Just don't pick up the money stick when you know that that's how you feel. So here's something that you could do. This is a new idea, and it will work very well for you. Do any of you have some subjects that are sort of stuck in your vibrational craw more than others? And we've been talking about the stick pile for a long time. You're aware of it, that every subject has two subjects, and on one end of it is something wanted, and on the other end is the absence of something wanted. And so you think that you've activated the abundance stick, when really what you've activated is your worry about not having enough money for something. And so you think you're doing something helpful, but you can tell eventually by the way it feels that it wasn't that helpful, because you just made yourself worry more by activating it. You following us? So now let's do something different with these sticks. Let's pick up the money stick, and on this end of the stick, let's call this the manifestation. Let's call this vibrations turning to thoughts, and thoughts turning to things, and those things are money, and that's on that end of the stick. So carve on that end of the stick. Use your, Esther remembers it from grade school, use your hot little tool that carves into wood. What do you call it? A wood burner? Don't touch it to your tongue. Just carve on the end of the stick. So on that end of the stick, you would write the word money. And on the other end of the stick, you're going to carve happy, freedom, fun, ease, flow. You're going to find the emotional equivalent that you can accomplish by parking your truck and sitting on a fence and just looking out. That was abundance of enormous proportion. And it was right at your fingertips. And you didn't have to do anything different. And so it turns out that everything that you want, everything that anybody ever wants, is because they think they'll feel better in the having of it. So if you go to the feeling of, I want money because I want to feel free, and I want more choices, and I want to have more fun, and I want to feel expansive, and I want to know the universe is cooperating with me, I want to feel my own invincibility, and I want to point it in directions that are helpful. And in other words, you feel all of those things, and you can feel them now. You can't get the money this red hot minute, but you can get that feeling this red hot minute. So when you pick up the stick, go to the emotional good feeling end of it that you know you can find. And if you're not anywhere in the vicinity, don't pick up the stick. Don't pick up a stick and go to the end of it that makes you feel lack. And so your inner being knows that. Did we tell you lately that your inner being knows where you are in terms of your manifestation or your state of mind? Your inner being always knows where you are in relationship to everything that you want. And your inner being knows the perfect things to say to you. And your inner being never says, I'll wait till she's in a better mood. Your inner being just always goes for it. Your inner being never stops giving you the revelation, but you got to do something about the realization of it, which means you could serve yourself very well by just deciding, I'm just going to be a happy girl today. I'm just going to feel as good as I can feel. I'm not going to solve any problems today. I'm not going to slay any dragons today. Jerry used to say to Esther occasionally, every day, sometimes more than once a day, as they were out in the world, and Esther could see a way that someone could improve their experience if they just pay attention. And so she would sometimes just make a suggestion. And as they would walk away, Jerry would say, "You're not going to teach them." In other words, give it a rest. Let them figure it out. Don't fix all the problems or slay all the dragons or you're making the world a better place. You can't help it. But you got to be in connection with the energy that feeds the world before you can offer anything anyway. And so we're not wanting to make you feel responsible to find alignment. We want you to find alignment because it's delicious to find alignment. And then we're just telling you all the good things that will come as a result of you finding alignment. But then you, because you're human, we love you so much, do we tell you? You, in your human form, you say, "Oh, I get it. I'll find alignment and then I can fix things." And we say, "That isn't what we said." You find alignment and things will get better. Yeah, that's what I heard you say, Abraham. If I take the responsibility upon myself and I tune into this powerful, powerful, powerful energy, then I can tune in and I can point it at things. I can heal the sick and I can feed the hungry. And we say, "You're missing the point again." Because the moment you begin pointing it at something that is a problem, you become a part of the problem, not a part of the solution. That's why you must separate in your own mind the question from the answer, the problem from the solution. That's why step 1 and step 3 are different steps, with a whole lot of cooperation from the universe in between them. Helpful?
Beautiful.
Enough?
That's enough.
Really good. Really good.